What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Rotojoes Fantasy Football Podcast. Real fast, happy Scott Fish Bowl Day to everyone. We both made it in. I thought that was pretty cool. I got my invite Saturday night, so day before it started, and I was driving home and I looked down. I had given up hope at getting in, and this is something I applied for last year, on the last day, didn't get in. Looked down at my phone. I'm like, holy shit, I'm in it. And I had texted you about it, and you had said you applied late. And I was like, damn, that sucks. It's not a huge deal to get in, but it's a pretty cool deal to be in it. And I felt bad, honestly. I had texted you about it a few times, and I was like, damn, I feel bad. You're not in it. This sucks. And then today, I'll let you talk about it. I'll let you talk about your invite. Anyways, I'm in Scott Fish Bowl. You're in Scott Fish Bowl. How was your invite?
Oh man, it was really cool. I applied late in the season. I don't think I really understood there was an apply and wait type of deal, or else I would have done it way sooner. Probably wouldn't have taken me till the day.
In fairness, I probably should have told you that.
Yeah, I don't think I really understood. So I applied probably I don't want to say a month ago, but it might have been a month ago. So I applied, and then I saw earlier, was it today or late yesterday, there was 50 spots left, and I'm like, I'm probably not going to get in. So, one of the guys said something about spots opening up, and I just popped in there, said I'm ready, and then I checked my email 5 minutes later, I had the invite. So super cool deal, man. I'm really excited to get out there and network with some of these people, with similar interests like us. A lot of them are podcasters like ourselves. Some of them are just fans. Some of them are celebrities. So it's a really interesting, really cool deal that I'm just really excited to be a part of. I got in my league, or my, what would you call it, conference, and there was already 4 or 5 picks made. I slid into the 8th spot, and now we're rolling. So
let's talk about picks. I might be able to make a live pick. I don't know. I'm in the hole. My draft's been kind of slow, but that's all right. Who'd you pick with your first round pick in Scott Fish Bowl?
First round pick, I went Kyler Murray at 108. Incredible value, I feel like. He's a guy that's kind of getting swept under the radar. Injured at the end of last season. People think he can't do good without Hopkins. I'm here to tell you he can. Elite rushing upside from a quarterback, especially when he doesn't have options to throw to in the passing game. Accurate quarterback. I really sat there at 108 and didn't think there was a shot in hell, because Kyler Murray's kind of been one of my guys this offseason. Kind of a guy that I've low key just wanted to add to my roster, and totally excited to get him. 6 was Joe Burrow, 7 was Dak Prescott, and I think it's kind of criminal to take those 2 over him, but hey, I'm not mad about it. So we made that pick, moved on. I might make a second round pick tonight. I'm not really sure. It looks like I might.
So I guess we should have done this before we even talked about it. To fill everyone in, I didn't really know about this until last year. It's a pretty big deal in the fantasy space, but if you're an outsider or a newbie, you probably don't know about it. Scott Fish Bowl, big charity pro-am event, 3,000 people all split up into 12 leagues. You have fans, analysts, celebrities. The scoring is unique in that you get passing and rushing touchdowns are the same value. So a Jalen Hurts doesn't have the same value he does in a normal scoring league. Another thing, quarterbacks get points for having over 66.6% completion percentage. Again, going against those rush-only quarterbacks. Tight ends get an extra point per reception. It's balancing out all the positions really well. And so it's always a challenge and interesting to see how all these people build teams differently and go about it. In the Shanghai division, I got the 8th pick as well, which is kind of funny. In my draft, by the time I'm up, Josh Allen, McCaffrey, Herbert, Jackson, Murray, Mahomes, and Burrow, in that order, had been picked ahead of me. And I'm sitting there. That's about the right top 6. I agree with that. I like Dak and then Brady and then Stafford after that. But I feel like that's the right top 6. and McCaffrey's gone, and I feel like after quarterback 7, I can get Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins. It was about the same fucking thing. So I stood pat and I grabbed Jonathan Taylor, which I love at 108 because I know it's safe. I know what I'm getting out of him. I'm not worried about it. I think the offense is going to be better with Ryan. I think he sees a little more passing work. I like Jonathan Taylor at 108. That's a real solid start to it for me. Hoping to get Kirk Cousins probably this next pick. Hopefully I can pick him live here, but I don't know yet.
Right. And I think the scoring adds a really interesting dynamic to it because, you know, I watched the video and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, that, you know, outside of, you know, the leagues that I'm already in, this one is different. And I like that. It makes it interesting. What's your key takeaway from round 1? What are you seeing? Because you can go look at anybody's draft.
I mean, it's a super flex league, so you see a lot of quarterback, which means in this league, in a lot of leagues, I agree. If it's a normal, like, standard scoring, you kind of want at least one quarterback in the top 24. I'm tossing around. I don't know if I want to put myself through it. I did this to myself last year in our Dynasty League. I didn't like it, but I love pain. We might just keep going here. I think I might not get a quarterback this round. I really think you got to think 3,000 people. Everyone's grabbing fucking quarterbacks. I could get Jonathan Taylor and Justin Jefferson on my team. After that, I think after the 3rd round, quarterbacks start slowing down. I might feasibly be able to start out Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, and like a Dalvin Cook maybe. DeAndre Swift, ETN. That's a pretty goddamn good skill group. And so I think the takeaway in something like this, where you're not, you know, winning your league doesn't really matter. I feel like you have to figure out what, like, the market inefficiency is. And right now, that's not drafting a goddamn quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with
zero
you.
QB.
Had I not gotten Kyler Murray was gone, I feel like that 8 to 15 quarterback range, man, there's not a whole lot of difference. I mean, yeah, if you don't get one of the tier 1 or tier 2 guys, you're really what does it matter? Like you just said, what does it matter if you have Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins if you can roll out skill position players like that? So here's my biggest flaw in dynasty startups is if I'm lucky enough to get a tier 1 or tier 2, in my opinion, quarterback, I wait too long to get that second one. And last year I got Mahomes 101. He didn't live up to that, but he still got a pretty high floor. And then I waited till like the 7th fucking round and got Jared Goff, and man, did that fuck me. Jared Goff still fucking sick.
Hey, and Scott Fishbowl scoring. He's pretty good, though.
Yeah, I mean, your completion percentage can't be bad if you don't pass it a lot. So I guess that's true. But yeah, super, super excited. I'm really glad it worked out. For me, my biggest takeaway is, yeah, a lot of quarterbacks. So we're on 112 in our league or in our conference, and there's only been 2 running backs taken, and the other, I guess, 9 picks were quarterbacks. So you see a Tom Brady go in the first round, which Tom Brady, to me, definitely could have done better, but you never know. You never know with playing with strangers who's a fanboy, who's not, like what the angle is. I don't see Tom Brady as a top 12 quarterback finish this year. Got taken over Jalen Hurts, got taken over who else? Taken over Aaron Rodgers, taken over a lot of guys that I felt like shouldn't have been. I mean, he is an ample second quarterback, absolutely, without a question, but I just don't see him in that tier 1 conversation. He's not someone I'd be comfortable rolling out as quarterback 1. I mean, he's going to start the whole year. He's going to play the whole year because that's just who he is. But I thought there were some better options on the board. You talk about it. You could have got Derrick Henry at the 111 and then turned around and stopped that guy at 112 from taking Derrick Henry. and then got probably still Tom Brady, if that's who you really feel like's the guy. But very interesting. I'm excited to watch it pan out. I'm not sure how long the draft is going to take. I think I heard a month, right?
Yeah, so you have until the day before the season. When I did my last slow draft league, which was Polly's playoff, it took like 3 weeks, probably 2.5 weeks. It depends on your group, right? Some groups, I saw someone on Twitter through like 3, 4, 5 rounds. We're through a round and a half. You're through one. You have like a slow group. But yeah, you're probably looking at 3 or 4 weeks. It kind of sucks. It doesn't suck, but you get real antsy after like 6 rounds. You're just ready to be done.
Right. Right now, man, I'm ready to go. I got the 205, and we're about to hit the second round. I got some guys circled. I mean, we talked about it before the pod. Everybody's got their guys, and I'm trying to line up as many of my guys as I can.
All right, let's get into news around the league. We don't really have news or noise because it's slow right now. First and biggest, Baker traded to Carolina for a conditional 2024 mid-round pick. I think DJ Moore is a top 15 wide receiver in fantasy. And I wouldn't have said that last year. But OBJ got deep open, and that's where the fuck-up was. DJ Moore will get open in the intermediary and the short route. He has an offensive coordinator that's going to want to throw the football a lot. I really like DJ Moore after this move. I'm okay on Baker. I think Baker starts, but DJ Moore sees the biggest uptick out of this. He might see like 170, 80 targets.
Well, here's the stat about DJ Moore that people like to forget. DJ Moore's got 1,100 yards every year he's played. And that's with guys like Sam Darnold, Kyle Allen, a very past his prime Cam Newton. And he's been productive. He's kind of like a great value Brandon Cooks. He's productive regardless of who's throwing to him. And Baker, even with his fucking shoulder ripped out of his goddamn socket, is better than Sam Darnold was last year. I don't care who needs to hear it, but so he's getting an upgrade. So to think he won't do better than he did last year, even if it's in very small amounts, I mean, I'm in on DJ Moore this year. I think you're right. Top 15 sounds just about right, but you got to remember Baker Mayfield, like I said, he had his goddamn arm ripped out of his socket last year, and he was still throwing the football. So I just I love that pick. I love that play. Good for Carolina though. Like, let's talk about that for a second. They gave up next to fuck all nothing, and Cleveland's going to pay half that salary. So you know what? After the year doesn't work out, they wipe their hands. They lost a couple $1 million and a 5th round pick, maybe. Cleveland, on the other hand, is going to pay Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield, and neither one of them are probably going to play for their team. So they're the real losers in this. They had to make a trade, had to get him off the roster, but Jacoby Brissett's going to be playing probably 17 games.
Yeah, and I don't think it's controversial to say Baker is quite a bit better than Jacoby Brissett is. Jacoby Brissett's okay. He's all right, but Baker, there might be something there. And it might just be the fucked up shit that happens in Cleveland where quarterbacks just don't develop. There's a carousel of coaches. It's just shit. Do you think Robbie Anderson has any fantasy upside this year after this move?
I think he does. Here's the deal is you can't get much worse than he was last year, right? Like he had like one decent game, if I'm not mistaken, maybe two. There's something wasn't right in the offense. I don't think Joe Brady was a problem, but he was the fall guy. So
I don't think Rule let Brady run his offense, if I'm being real honest.
I don't either.
Especially towards the end there.
I think Robbie Anderson, he's a buy low in Dynasty. I think if you can get him for pennies on the dollar, who gives a shit if it doesn't work out? You know what I'm saying? It's worth the play because it wasn't but a year or two ago that Robbie Anderson was torching people. I mean, he's a speedy fucking get open quick kind of guy, and you like to see that. Here's my concerns. I don't know if Baker has the arm to get it to him, but I guess we'll find out. It's worth the gamble.
Yeah, no, I just moved for Robbie Anderson and Evan Ingram for like Mark Ingram, and I don't even remember some shit wide receiver, and I was pretty happy about it because as a flyer, I'll take that. I wouldn't want him like for a lot, but like just 2 years ago he was wide receiver 29. Baker's better than Teddy Bridgewater is. Don't know.
Teddy Bridgewater. That's who I forgot. Yeah.
Right.
But yes, he is. I mean, even you got to realize, didn't he have surgery this offseason, Baker? Didn't he fix that shoulder?
I think so.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, here's the thing about Baker is I like Baker's swag, right? Baker's always had that cocky attitude that apparently is a problem in Cleveland, or that's what the media is trying to portray. I think it's like if I had Baker Mayfield on my roster week 1, I'd probably start him because he's going to do everything in his fiber being to absolutely torch the Browns. That's the week 1 matchup. He plays the Browns week 1.
Yeah.
If he's starting and I could get my hands on some Baker, I'm at least going to start him week 1.
Yeah, that's a good like DFS play for sure. All right.
You know he's going to do it too.
Oh, yeah. The Athletics' Josh Kendall writes that expecting Cordero Patterson to be fully available and able to carry a full load at running back this season is overly optimistic. Do you want any part of Cordero Patterson this year?
No, I think the price is just a little too high for me. I didn't want him last year even when he was doing well because I just sat and waited for the end. Price is too high for me. I like the other guy, the Alliger guy, Tyler Alliger.
Yeah, Algier.
Yeah, I like him to step in at some point. I mean, Cordell Patterson was a great story, right? Like, receiver, kick returner, turn running back, did really good on a shitty team. Very happy for him. He earned a paycheck. I just don't see that success continuing long term. I'm not in on Patterson, and I never was. So even though he paid some dividends last year, there's guys that have these 1-year wonders, and he just reeks of a 1-year wonder to me. Because you got to realize you're going to a guy like Mariota. I'm not going to have the debate if Mariota is going to start or not. Who cares? He's got more leg talent than Matt Ryan did, right? Sure. He's still young. He's going to take off and run more than I think people realize. The Falcons' offensive line is going to make him do that. I just see decreased opportunities for Patterson. And then, honestly, like I said, I like, what'd you call him, Algier?
Tyler, he's a Storm Mormon, bro. He went to BYU.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Cougar Nation. But yeah, I'm out on Patterson this year. That's just me.
Yeah, I have him running back 36, and I promise you I will not pick him in any leagues whatsoever. I don't give a fuck if he's there at the last round. I just don't want him. All right, moving on. 2022 potential busts. Your first potential bust is Adam Thielen. What's wrong with Thielen this year?
Man, here's the deal.
Kirk Cousins like those white folks.
He does.
That end zone and sees white.
He's
a Klansman inside the 20.
Here's what I see, though. I see a situation where the regime has changed, the coaching regime has changed, and Kevin O'Connell is kind of more of a think outside the box type of guy. That's what I see. I mean, they've got Dalvin Cook lining up in the slot. Irv Smith returns. Justin Jettas, man, he's still that dude. I'm not here's the thing about my bust is I'm not saying it's a bad pick, but relative to where they're going in drafts, I don't think you're going to see the Adam Thielen of old. I think you're going to see like a more touchdown dependent Adam Thielen, which he had already been trending to over the last few years. He's kind of hit a point where he's not up in yardage, but he's definitely snagging the touchdowns to keep you in it. He's a guy that could really easily go 4 for 30 and 2 touchdowns. And I think that just gets worse as time goes on. You add in Dalvin Cook if he gets into that receiving game. You add in Irv Smith, which is a guy I fucking loved last year before the injury. Like, I was beating that Irv Smith drum hard. And I think there's just too many options. I'm not saying he's not going to be productive, but not at the level people are used to.
Yeah, I like Thielen this year, but I wouldn't overpay for him. I like him in, like, after wide receiver 30, 35, just because I think O'Connell, I think they'll spread it around. Like I said, Kirk Cousins is a clampman inside the 20. He only sees white, so Irv Smith's going to be neutralized by that. Legitimately think Justin Jefferson is the biggest winner out of the 3, but if I'm in a dynasty league, I'm not picking Thielen. And you are right; he's super touchdown dependent. If he doesn't score over 8 touchdowns, you're fucked. Because he's not going to get over 800 receiving yards. So yeah,
right.
There's a lot of risk baked in. My first bust is Travis Kelce out in Kansas City. I didn't like him last year. The deal is that Mark Andrews is better in a better situation. There's fuck all there but Mark Andrews. And it's such a run-heavy offense, he's going to get matched up with linebackers because teams are going to put 8 in the box, 7 in the box, 6 in the box. You're going to get these really, really large box counts, and then Andrews one-on-one with the tight end, and you know how that goes. Kelce is finally in a position where he can get his ass doubled. For years, it was either you're going to let Tyreek beat you deep or Kelce underneath. And which one gives up points? Usually Tyreek deep, so you're going to cover that more. That's not a thing anymore. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is whatever. He couldn't be over wide receiver 4 with Aaron Rodgers, so I don't think Mahomes is going to magically unlock him. I just don't think Kelce is worth the first-round capital. If you can get him after like the second pick in the second round, that's cool value. I'd take that. In the first round, though, he's a bust just because he's not going to return value when Mark Andrews is probably the tight end 1. I don't. And the age thing's there too. He's 33. Tight ends will just fall off a cliff. You never know, though. He might have 3-4 more good years, but I don't think he has 3 or 4 more wide or tight end 1 years.
Right. Yeah, I have to agree with you. Here's the way I see what happened in the offseason. So you trade away Tyreek Hill. Granted, that is a lot of targets, but then you add Juju, you add Valdez-Scantling, you add Sky Moore. I think those 3 alone will adopt more of those targets than Tyreek Hill left behind. You got to realize that. I mean, what was he, like 100 and stat me? What was Tyreek Hill's targets last year? 120, maybe 110?
I think you're in the right range. No, I think he had a lot. I think he had like 150.
150?
I'm pulling it up.
I just couldn't.
150. He had 110 receptions, but 160 targets. 159.
So I'm just saying, I don't see a situation where these guys are going to go in and not command at least 50, 60 targets apiece. So, I mean, it's more of an eye test thing, but you also got to use some common sense. You take 3 average to above average guys and replace an elite talent, there's going to be some separation of work. And he cannot, I mean, yeah, you're right. Kelce's getting older. I think he's still going to be productive, but my thing is, like, I'm not a first round Kelce guy. I'm not a tight end before the 3rd guy. And if I was to make that exception, it'd be in the Scott Fish Bowl.
That's what I'm about to eat up some Mark Andrews. Swear to God, I've talked myself into it.
Dude, I wouldn't fuck with anybody harder than Mark Andrews because he's the best receiver on that team. There actually isn't another receiver on that team that I would touch, real honestly. I mean, people are pounding the Bateman train. You're pounding that because there's no other option to pound. You're not pounding it because he's a good player. That's what I got. I said it. I said it. Go ahead and at me. But yeah, I'm not in on him in the first. He's kind of a third round guy for me, and I know he will never fall to the third round because I mean, what happened with Gronk all those years? It was 2-3 years past his prime. People were still taking him in the second round. So just hoping for the comeback. So
Yeah.
I'm not in on Kelce at his ADP. I'd rather have Mark Andrews. I'd rather have Kyle Pitts. Kittle maybe. But Schultz, yeah, Schultz is a baller.
I'm not going to grab Andrews because I want one of those guys. I've changed my mind. I have to go Kirk Cousins here. I need to stay on topic on my draft. This is how I get got in Superflex. You're just like, God, really? Kirk Cousins? What's the difference between Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones? But then when you see what the difference is, you fucking hate yourself for it. I know better. I've learned.
The difference is variable, though. It's week to week. I mean, Kirk Cousins, we've talked about it. You made a whole thumbnail about it. Our boy can garbage time.
Hey, that offense is goddamn perfect for him. You realize that, right? He's going to go dumb in that offense. Kirk Cousins, quarterback 1 season. I will fucking plant my flag. I have no issues. Kirk Cousins is made for the Sean McVay system. It's going to be you like that, Kirk Cousins, this year, boy. All right, last point on Kelce. In our Dynasty League, someone traded 2 firsts and sent Gronk pre-retirement for Travis Kelce. I don't want to say anything mean in case for whatever reason it ever gets heard. That was a bad move. Don't do that in a Dynasty League. I'll leave it at that. 2 firsts for an aging tight end? No, sir.
Here's the thing is you can't let fanboy play into fantasy. You may be a Chiefs fan, but you cannot overpay for Chiefs players just because. I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong, you can, and people do. And I like to exploit personally. I'm the kind of guy, like I told you, we got a Steelers fan. I picked right after or before, I can't remember, but I took George Pickens. Don't hate the pick at the spot. I had another option, but I took George Pickens just because I know here in about a year I'm going to be dangling that shit over his head. And I'd do it again. You got to know your league mates, man. You got to know your league mates. And clearly somebody knew this guy would mortgage the fucking farm for Travis Kelce.
I saw that.
The same guy already had Mark Andrews.
And it's not a tight end premium. This is no TP at all. This is a normal half PPR.
But now that I just said that out loud, I might need to hit that inbox and see if I can catch Andrews. Oh, wait, I got Pitts. Never mind. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hit that inbox and see what Andrews can.
He's probably going to – everyone wants to fucking set shit at first 2 firsts for a stud. I got Dalvin Cook for 1 and Naheem Hines, and I was fucking cool with that. All right, next bust, David Montgomery. Why don't you like Monty this year? You never like Monty, but
I never do. No. Monty's success, I feel like, had a lot to do with Matt Nagy kind of not really knowing what the fuck he was doing. I just don't think he's a guy that I don't dislike the player. I just think he really preys on a weak competition. All of his blow-up games were against lower echelon teams. We talked about it before a couple of years back. He just had a really stupid, easy end-of-season schedule. He was considered a league winner, but it was really just due to his matchups. Last year, I feel like he exploited some subpar matchups and really made it. This year, kind of what I'm seeing is, here's the deal. I'm on that Justin Fields train, right? I'm on that fucking shit, right? Justin Fields is going to take rushing opportunities away from David Montgomery any way you look at it. Justin Fields has the potential to be another Kyler Murray, right? That's the way I see it. He has that potential. I'm not going to say he's going to be another Kyler Murray, but he has that upside. He's a guy that I really like, and I really hope it comes along for him. But you add in the fact that the coaching, you put a defensive coordinator in there as the head coach. I don't think the offense is really going to be the focal point. They got a nasty fucking defense next year, though, because that's what they had in Indy. And Eberflus does know how to do a defense, but I just don't see any of this resulting in good for David Montgomery. Initial reaction when you look at it is you see a guy who has no competition per se, even though I think Khalil Herbert's – we need to talk a little bit more about him than we do because he stepped in the injury games and, in my opinion, looked better. But, you're going into – God, he's got to be coming up on a contract here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going into what probably should be a contract year, and the writing on the wall. I'm a big gut feeling guy, and the gut feeling for me is that it just doesn't pan out to success. I think we see another. Trying to think of a good example. Someone who just went limp dick. Anyway, just not loving the vibes I'm getting from that one. I think there's better options out there because we're really talking, if you're just talking standard redraft, we're really talking like a 4th, 5th, 6th round guy. I hate to say it because I'm pretty notorious for hating on James Conner, but fuck, I think I'd rather have James Conner.
Yeah, Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, is going to run a lot of outside zone. He comes from Green Bay, which comes from San Francisco. Monty's not built for that at all. He's more of a between the tackles plotter. A name to think about in deep, deep, deep leagues, Darrington Evans is excellent in the outside zone game. He's one of their backups. And Khalil Herbert's all right at it. Darrington Evans is very good. And the common trend between a lot of these West Coast guys is they don't care running back-wise where you're drafted or who you are. If you're good at running outside zone, you get to play. So that might be a name that we see as the season progresses. My last bust is going to be Gabriel Davis. I don't understand how we got to the point. I saw him. He was like underdog wide receiver 23. This is a guy who's never finished above wide receiver 60 in an offense that literally goes Diggs, slot, run. Now there's James Cook. They're not going to use Gabriel Davis. But the way I think about it is this. He's wide receiver 66 his first year, 60 this year. If he's wide receiver 45, he jumped 15 spots. That's pretty good. Why are we expecting him to do that plus 20? It's just like Kyle Pitts last year getting picked at number 3. Even if he had an exceptional year, he was never going to be tight end 3. It just wasn't going to happen. That's what's going on with Gabe Davis. I don't even hate him as a player. Like, I talk a lot of shit about him as a fantasy pick. I actually like him in the offense, and I think he's a good piece. But he fucking hasn't topped 900 yards yet. What the fuck is he going to do? He had that one good playoff game against a shit pass defense that blitzes all the time. Sure, not going to happen in the regular season.
Right.
It's just way too far.
I've got Gabe Davis in Dynasty, and here's what I'll tell you. I'm actively trying to sell Gabe Davis on the hype right now because the hype, it's a fantasy Twitter thing. We've talked about it before. They take these guys like Laviska Shenault, Gabe Davis. I could go through a number of other people and just hype it up to be more than what it is. Gabe Davis at wide receiver, what'd you say, 23?
I saw on Underdog, I think that's his ADP, like 23 to 27.
That's disgusting. Now, if he was wide receiver 23 and Stephon Diggs blew his ACL out 10 minutes ago, I'll take the hate comments. But that's pretty much the only acceptable situation is if we find out tomorrow Gabe Davis or Stephon Diggs beats someone down outside of a casino in Las Vegas and he's going to miss 8 games, then that's a conversation. right? Like that's acceptable. But a lot of good talent on that Buffalo team. I mean, they got O.J. Howard, which I think is a sleeper. They got Jamison Crowder, which is going to be probably an immense value next year. They got
Jamison Crowder is going to be fucking good this year. You can book that.
Well, yeah, okay. They got James Cook. They still got Dawson Knox. They still got Stephon Diggs. I mean, a lot of shit going on there. And I just, they also, people got to realize they also lost the ball. And not everybody could come in and do what the ball did. So I think pumping the brakes on, or at least precautionary type of situation, they may not be as good as they have been. What I'm saying? What if the ball was that dude?
Mm-hmm.
It may not be the same. Because McDermott was a defensive coordinator, right?
It's a whole new, not a whole new, but a new offensive coordinator to them. So,
right.
Yeah, you don't know. All right, for the sake of time, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to do the running back 12 to 7 this time, and then 6 to 1 next time. So, Kaden, you're running back 12 for 2022. It's a little early. Probably will change before the season starts.
Oh, sure.
Joe Mixon. You don't like Joe Mixon?
I do. I mean, I like him, but I think he had some success with the surprise Bengals team. Joe Mixon, often injured. He's a guy that I think will be an RB1, but just barely. I think his success last year is not going to be replicated. I think they're a pass-first offense for sure. And, believe it or not, what's Joe Mixon, 27, 28?
26.
Fuck.
When the season starts. But he's played 5 years, so he's semi-old 26, going into the 6th season.
Yeah. But I feel like they're a pass-first team. They did add some O-line help, so that is in his favor. I still think he's going to be an RB1, but I think it's going to be like a just barely type of situation.
Yeah, I like Joe Mixon. We'll talk about him in terms of like what I think as we get on. The division they play in, the weather is bad, which actually kind of works in his favor a little bit because you just have like weather game scripts. Same thing, Nick Chubb benefits from that pretty heavily. There's like 4 or 5 games where Nick Chubb's going to run the ball 30 times because the wind's fucked. My RB12 is Travis Etienne, guy coming in with a workhorse role, playing with his college quarterback. I actually like this situation. A lot of people, I get last year Jacksonville was a fucking dumpster fire. It's not that bad this year. Doug Peterson's a real NFL coach. They have a better team. It's not great. He's kind of built like a Kamara light. I sent you that earlier. He could be like a great value Kamara. It's about RB12 this year. So there's no touch competition right now. James Robinson's Achilles gone. Don't expect him to be good even if he comes back and plays this year. Etienne is like exactly what you want out of a running back. Not a lot of touches, talented. He has the list Frank thing, which is kind of scary, but I love Etienne. I think he's a RB1 this year, and I think he's going to sneak up on some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
RB11 for you, Javonte Williams. I was actually interested in this. You're higher on Javonte than I
am. Because so you only sent me your 7 through 12. So the fact that I didn't see Williams in your 7 through 12 made me wonder. I'm like, this fucker didn't put him in the top 6, did he?
No, he's like RB14 for me until Melvin's hurt. If Melvin gets hurt, he's like RB3.
Slides to what?
He slides to 3, RB3. Easy.
I guess I can believe that. Just for me, man, I'm a big Javonte fan. I think he has unlimited upside. He's literally in a cage right now and just waiting to take the league by storm. Here's the deal with Melvin. He's a year older. We all know Russ isn't used to using a receiving back, right? He doesn't do it well. He doesn't do it often. So I think that kind of takes out of Melvin's usage because Melvin is the better pass catcher. We know that. Just for me, like I think you get 4 weeks into the season, and I think they realize, because last year you got to realize Melvin gets a year older, and Javonte gets a year more of experience. And I think at some point we're going to see the scale tip, right? Yeah. And I think it's going to go in the favor of Javonte. I'm a fan. He's a guy I like a lot. I hope they cut him loose at some point. I really do, because he's going to be a guy we talk about for the next at least 3 to 5 years as a top 5 guy. Sooner or later, that we're going to hit that point, right?
Yeah, I love Javonte. My only issue is the fucking work split. I just have this real fucking sneaky feeling that this Packers OC that's coming over to head coach, his name's escaping me right now, Nathaniel Hackett. I just have this sneaking suspicion that Hackett's gonna fucking do this whole Javonte, you're Aaron Jones and Melvin Gordon's A.J. Dillon 50-50, baby.
It ain't the same.
That. They're not the same. Fuck no, they're not. But I love Minota Javonte lover. I got him for free in a dynasty league, and I have never looked back. But I'm really not as high on him as some people this year. At the right value, sure. My RB11 is Najee Harris. Did you know Najee is the same age as Saquon?
Well, you got to disrespect the dude.
Here's the real deal about it. So you got Mitch Trubisky. His whole value was wrapped up in I touched the ball 375 times. With about almost a fourth of that being pass game work, which is more valuable than carries. Okay, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett come over, who Mitch will kind of target the running back, but he's not Ben Roethlisberger with a limp arm these last 2 years. Or Kenny Pickett, who's a rookie, so he's not going to check down very often. That doesn't happen. We've seen this fucking conundrum happen where old quarterback who cannot throw gets replaced with young quarterback who thinks he can throw really well. Eli Manning, when he left Saquon dipped. Cordell Patterson this year without Matt Ryan is going to dip. Hines, after Rivers left, dipped. Alex Smith and J.D. McKissick, after Smith got replaced, dipped. We've seen this 1,000 times. I think Najee is going to be in the same boat. And they're talking about taking him off the field sometimes, which I think is good for him. But for fantasy, his whole value is wrapped up in I get all the touches. I get 80% of the work in a league that no one else gets 65 or 70. And that's about to be gone. And the O-line still sucks. I like Najee. I was fucking Najee #1 last year because he was a steal. Right now, though, it's not the same.
No, and you got to realize, people got to understand that someone. I think my interpretation of running backs going into a draft, let's take for example JT, RB1 overall last year. I don't expect him to be the RB1 overall. I think he has a safe range of RB3 to 5, and that's why you take him #1 overall. Mm-hmm. It's a safe pick, right?
Yeah.
Najee for me, I got him at 7. I like him a lot, but you're right. There are some concerns with Pickett or Trubisky coming in. The only plus side to all that to him is those aren't two guys that are gonna just sling it deep. Now, if they got a cannon arm type of Josh Allen type of dude, I would have ranked him lower. Where he's going though, so you're talking he's going probably RB. I don't have the data in front of me, but if I had to guess, RB
4 or 5,
5 to 7.
4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that 4 spots.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Our home dynasty league, we got a Steelers fan that I'm going to absolutely fucking destroy for my Najee shares after the draft. Book it. It's gonna be.
I've already done that once. The same person. Fun times. You should.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and look at your trade and see. I'm gonna have to do better than that.
2 first, Mike Evans.
But yeah, I'm a Najee fan, but yeah, I think his usage does go down. I think he's kind of a guy to me that could finish definitely top 10. I think we're looking RB7 if I'm just throwing a number out. But yeah, he won't repeat what he did last year because go down. His only hope for keeping fantasy status where it's at is that Deontay holds out. You know, some other things happen. He's got a lot of variables that go into it.
Your RB10, Aaron Jones. You're going to be shocked when you hear where I have him next episode. Why so low?
You know, he was really close to being way higher for me. I love Aaron Jones this year. I absolutely fucking love Aaron Jones. He's a guy, I don't reach often, but I'll reach for some Aaron Jones this year.
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely the guy who gets the pass catching work. You know, lack of fucking other receivers. Aaron Rodgers is really like a my boys type of guy. You know he is.
Yeah.
You know that's his personality, and you know Aaron Jones. He's gone out and got 150 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. I can't say enough about how much I love Aaron Jones this year. Very close to me to cracking that top 5, but you know I had some other things come up that led me to think otherwise. But if he finished as a top 3, top 2 running back, I would not fucking be surprised. And I would almost kick myself in the dick for not taking him higher.
So, Aaron Jones has never had over 52 receptions in a year. He might have 85 this year, 90. If things break right, in fact, Christian Watson can't catch how I think he can. Romeo Dobbs is not ready. Randall Cobb's 1 year older. Aaron Jones is a stone's throw away from being the fucking slot receiver half the time. And then what does it look like? Because I promise they do that. It's a LaFleur. It's a Shanahan disciple. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. Aaron Jones, like, I love some Aaron Jones this year. I don't know past this year what's going to happen, but this year, great redraft pick.
Great redraft. I mean, if I'm on the clock in a redraft league at 1089, I am finding Jesus to take Aaron Jones at that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, yeah, we'll talk about him in my rankings when we get to that. I'm pretty fucking high on him. RB10 for me, Leonard Fournette. I mean, it's pretty fucking simple. Give me the running back in a Tom Brady-led offense. Even if Rachaad White takes some pass game work, Lenny was the RB3 in PPR last year. So that puts him at RB10, which is where I have him. Like, he might have a fucking RB, 1, 2, 3 season. That's in the fucking cards. But I'm not going to project that. I like some other guys ahead of him. But actually, he's your RB9, so we can just kind of transition over with this. I love Lenny, though. I'll draft Lenny all day long, too. He's a great, give me the running back for Tom Brady. All day long. All types of touchdowns.
I mean, here's the deal. Lenny was a guy that I believed in last year. No one else was on that bandwagon. He came out and did Lenny things. You know, if they didn't believe the same thing I believe, because he had a contract offer from New England. He was about to fucking take it. I truthfully believe he just did it to get the money he wanted from Tampa Bay, and it fucking worked. They caved like a bunch of little bitches. They gave him all the goddamn dollars he wanted, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy's got immense pass game work. You know Tom Brady loves that fucking receiving back. You know he loves that back that don't fumble, because what happened to Ronald Jones when he fumbled in week 2?
He never came back on the field.
You never saw him again. You know, there's just so much going for Leonard Fournette. You know, he's number 9 for me. He's number 10 for you. And what he finished last year, 5?
RB3 and PPR.
Three.
Points per game. I don't use overall because that shit doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Yeah, love Lenny. My RB9 is Christian McCaffrey. I don't like him this year. I don't. I get that when he plays a full game 2 years ago, he put up 30 points per game. Are we sure it's still going to be like that this year? At one point, I was like, I kind of tried to talk myself into it. But for me, I'll take a safe 18 to 20, 17 to 20 points over I might get 30 points 2 weeks. I might get it 10 weeks. I might get it 4 weeks. Maybe I get it the whole season and I'm fucking scoring. Like I'm killing everyone. I'm not huge on McCaffrey, especially if you're in a super flex league because it kind of mitigates that. But I mean, I'm just not. I'm not chasing injuries. I've done that too many times. I made that mistake too often. Same with Saquon. I don't like Saquon this year. Not chasing the injury. Christian McCaffrey's Christian McCaffrey. I'm just not. I don't want to deal with that. At the place where you have to pick him.
Correct. Yes. So you have to make the investment. It's a very hard investment to make. I have him ranked much higher, and that's just because of the elite upside. Because say he does stay healthy this year.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting him second round, oh, abso-fucking-lutely. But, we've seen it the last couple of years. He hasn't been able to stay on the field, but when he does, he shows you why, right? For me, it just depends on the format. If I'm in redraft, I'll probably gamble if the price is right. If I'm in Dynasty, I really don't want any part of it. Yeah, and I'll talk more on CMC, and he's in my top 6.
Which I get.
And it's that simple as it's one bad play away from him being RB1 overall or RB97 or whatever the fuck he was last year,
Do you think that do you think he sees over 60% of the snaps? That's a good question.
If he's healthy, I do. Because who they at? Oh, Deontay Foreman. Yeah, no. I mean, I
think he'll be the bruiser, which is probably good for McCaffrey. Let's be honest. He probably needs a guy like that.
He's going to get the goal line, punch in 1 yard. McCaffrey's probably not going to do that anymore. What makes McCaffrey great is how often he's targeted in the passing game. He's that white Kamara, but better, really.
All right, RB8, Travis Etienne. We already talked about him a little bit. You're higher than I am.
Dude, I love some fucking Etienne this year because here's what I gotta say. A lot of what people see in Swift, Etienne's that same. But Etienne's, in my opinion, in a better offense. He's not as polished as Swift is at this point in his career, obviously. Didn't play his rookie season. That's why I have him lower than Swift. But we're talking the same type of talent. We're talking a guy that could go out there and run hard, catch hard, play hard. We've talked about the Doug Peterson offense, how that's going to be a focal point of it. He's playing with his boy Trevor Lawrence. He's a guy that he's a sleeper, but he's a calculated risk. And in the fact that more signs point to him succeeding this year than failing.
Yeah.
Sure, one torn ACL could fucking ruin it all, but that's with anybody, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And, the foot deal, he's only had it once. I like Etienne. I tried to get him off you, but I could tell pretty quick where that was going. My team's pretty good, though. I can't be giving up too much. My RB8.
I saw those shitty trade offers for Etienne. I'm like, oh, Ethan's on to me. He knows what I'm working with. All right.
My RB8, Nick Chubb. I fucked up. Your RB12 was supposed to be Nick Chubb. I'm sorry. I just saw that. I view him right now as I would if Baker Mayfield was playing. He's gonna get a lot of touches. They play in the cold weather, gets a lot of work like that. Playing some shitty wind, gonna get a lot of work when it's like that. Brissett is not.
He ain't
Brissett's
that dude.
not. Yeah, he's not Deshaun Watson. He's not even Baker Mayfield. Hunt, he's only RB8 because Kareem Hunt limits his upside. He's still gonna play a lot. Kareem Hunt's gonna be a back end RB2, probably high end RB3 this year. I'm worried about game script with Jacoby. I don't know if the Browns are just going to get down really fast in some games and then Chubb's neutralized because Kareem Hunt's going to play that game. He's also getting older. You wonder when the tread's going to start showing. I like Nick Chubb. I'm totally comfortable drafting Nick Chubb. I just don't. I wouldn't overpay for Nick Chubb. It's like I view T. Higgins. I like T. Higgins. I'm not overpaying to go get T. Higgins. Back in wide receiver 1 is a good value for him. Back in running back 1 is good value for Chubb.
Nick Chubb, here's the deal. Here's kind of my divide on Nick Chubb. I'm a Nick Chubb fan. I always have been. I've always loved the way he played. Here's my issue with it. Say what happens is what we all know is going to happen. Deshaun gets suspended for a year. You insert Jacoby Brissett. I just see him fucking stacking the box because they know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I'm a defensive coordinator playing a no Deshaun Browns, I know what's going to happen. You're going to fucking run Nick Chubb at me all goddamn day because Jacoby Brissett he's not a starter in the league. We know that. He's proven that multiple times. He's a serviceable backup. We know that. You're not going to beat a defensive coordinator with a serviceable backup unless you just have a master fucking game plan, right? And that's what I see. As talented as Nick Chubb is, I bet he gets stuffed a lot. I bet this is a hard fucking year on Nick Chubb. And because I'm not even a coach and I can already see what's going to happen.
Yeah. You wonder if this is his last great year just because he's going to get an ass beating. RB7. Oh, go ahead. RB7, your last running back for the night, not last. Najee Harris.
Yep. Like I said, I like Najee around that 5 to 8 range on a finish for this year. Like I said, his workload's going to go down, and it should. Just given how hard they ran him last year. Like I said, I think his best bet for fantasy relevance is probably going to be the passing game and getting him more involved in that because he may not be an elite pass catcher, but he's serviceable, right? Mm-hmm. He can get in there and do it. Deontay Johnson maybe holding out, maybe not. I'm not really sure, but I think that is how he should shift his game because, you love to say Najee Harris is going to the fucking retirement home. Well, he's what, 23, 24?
24.
Yeah, he's 24, and you're ready to fucking send him to the old manor.
No, he's 2 years older than I am.
He's not older than I am, so that's my problem with it.
You don't play running back. You play a different position.
I'm older than Derrick Henry, so
the retirement home comment depends on where you're working.
Oh, where I'm working, I probably should be in the retirement home. But anyway, I do like Najee, but here's my fear going into the year: is there's probably a lot of people that like him more than I do.
Yeah.
I think some people take. I really do like watching these drafts. I think some people take the RB finishes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like JT, he goes first. Who was RB2? Eckler. Eckler goes next. RB3 was, I think, Najee. Najee goes next. Someone's going to value him more than I do. And that's just the way that's going to go.
So, last but not least, my RB7, Austin Eckler. I'm going to begin with this stat. 2018. Austin Eckler saw 20 red zone touches. 2019, he saw 27 red zone touches. 2020, he saw 26 red zone touches. Last year, he saw 63 red zone touches. What's the outlier? Last year, 27 years old, Isaiah Spiller comes on the roster to have the explicit role of getting his ass beat so Austin Eckler stays fresh. I don't think he keeps up that astronomically high red zone touch rate. I think Isaiah Spiller sees a lot of that. Like I said, he got drafted to get his ass beat so Eckler stays fresh. That's how that works. I did a study, and on average, running backs who are over the age of 27, which Eckler is, rush for under 1,000 yards and score over 10 touchdowns, average a drop of 7 positional finish spots the next year. So like if you were RB1 the year you posted those stats, you'd be RB8 the next year on average. I don't think Eckler falls a crazy amount, but I wouldn't want to overdraft him either. RB7 feels appropriate. I do think you see some touchdown regression based off that red zone touch work. But he's still going to be a great pass catcher. And honestly, you might be able to get him at this spot in some drafts. I really don't think everyone's overvaluing him. Some people will, but not everybody.
No, I agree with you. I mean, Eckler, I'm an Eckler fan, but I agree. Like, it is time to pump the brakes on that just for the simple fact that you're right. I mean, here's what I see out of the Chargers. They may have the best defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They very, very, very well may have the best defense.
And well coached. One of the best coaches, too, on that side of the ball.
Well coached. And Herbert going to do Herbert things, right? He's no slouch. I mean, he's kind of a weird kid. I've said that before. I like him though. I love those fucking clips where they try to take a video of him and he's like, don't video me. But you know, ultimately their group is developing, and I don't think they're going to rely so much on one person. They re-signed Mike Williams. He was an intermittent star. Like, he had his boom games. He had a lot of bust games, but Keenan Allen's always going to be that dude. They added Gerald Everett into the mix. I think that takes away from his short line receiving work, even if just a fragment. And I think you're right. I think the Chargers are trying to contend for a Super Bowl, right? And they're not going to burn Austin Eckler in the first 10 weeks of the season when their mindset is we need to keep this guy fresh for the playoffs. And that is the downside. That is real life NFL coaching versus what we want to see in fantasy.
Yeah.
So I think that's more or less what you see.
I want to end off because you mentioned Mike Williams. I have a fun Mike Williams stat. Really fun. Last year, Mike Williams had 8 top 20 wide receiver weeks. 6 of those were in the top 15. He had 8 outside of the top 40. So you either were a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 4, literally.
It was 45 or 8.
Yes.
That was what he was giving you.
Yes. I don't like him. No, sir. All righty, guys. Do you have anything else? Got anything else we want to talk about?
You know what? I think I got a minute or two. You skipped my last bust, and I got to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're running low on time. That was an executive producer decision. Go ahead.
Well, here's the deal.
Bust.
This was my favorite one because I know it's going to anger fantasy Twitter. Is Trey Lance. I'm not certain the guy's going to start.
Yeah, where's Jimmy G going to go? I've said that too. If they start out, if they lose, could you imagine if they lose their first 3 games and Trey Lance looks bad? Jimmy G's going to play because Jimmy G wins. Fucking whatever he sucks. You got to make the right decisions in that offense.
Or else Shanahan will ban you entirely. He will put a motherfucker like what happened to Trey Sermon.
Yeah,
we don't know.
He did the Sermon.
Yeah, we don't know what happened.
Spot. Go sit on the
truthfully
bench
believe
together.
this is all on a conspiracy thing. I truthfully believe that Shanahan never wanted Trey Lance. I think he wanted Mac Jones. I've heard this rambling. I've heard this thing. And I think, I think he's going to be forced at giving him a shot. But what if that shot doesn't work out?
Oh, yeah.
I think Trey Lance stumbled 2 or 3 games, and we may never see Trey Lance again.
I don't think he hasn't played in he's played 1 game in 2 years. I want to say 2 games. He's not a sure thing. And again, Jimmy G wins.
He's going right in the same range as fucking Jalen Hurts. You talk about a Superflex league. I think they're going Jalen Hurts, Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not with it, dude.
No,
I'm not
no,
with
sir.
it because I don't even know if the guy's going to play the whole fucking year.
No.
Count me out.
Every day that Jimmy, really it ended with that Carolina trade, but every day that passes that Jimmy G stays on that roster, Lord forbid he shows up for minicamp. Every day he stays on that roster is a day longer that he's going to stay for the regular season. At some point, if no quarterbacks get hurt between now and the start of the season, which for some position groups would be asking a lot, but quarterbacks don't get hit in practice and most don't play preseason games. That means Jimmy G's on the week 1 roster. If Trey Lance looks like shit, you think they're going to move him? Fuck no. They're going to keep him on the roster. They're going to keep him on the roster. And then week 2, if Lance looks bad, Jimmy G's conversation starts. 3rd week of Lance looking bad, Jimmy G plays. Guarantee it. That roster is built to win now. They're too expensive to not. I don't like Lance. He might be good, but I don't want to buy him on that. There's a lot of risk. It's like Justin Fields. I don't want Justin Fields. Too much risk.
All I'm saying is Shanahan's the most temperamental coach in the league, right? He might even trump Bruce Arians. And, like we said with Trey Sermon, what happened to him? No one fucking knows, right? All of a sudden, no one knows what happened to Trey Sermon. I just think you could see a similar situation to where Lance fucks up Shanahan's life and Shanahan just sits him to the side, and we might not hear from him until next offseason. So that was my spiel. I just had to get it out.
No, that was a good one. I agree. I don't like Lance, man. Not in on him. Alrighty, guys. That's all we got. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, Scott Fishbowl draft will be done. Probably talk about our running backs and then talk about.
We'll probably be in the 15th round at that point.
Yeah, we have 20 of them, 22. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.